We are coming to you live from our Auckland Park studios. This is Prime News on SABC 3. Here's what's dominating in your leads at this hour.
It seems to me that had Mr. Matlala not been arrested, you will still be continuing with your communication with him.
The heat of cross-examination has revealed that the KwaZulu-Natal Hawks head communicated with alleged cartel member Vusmuzi Matlala up until his arrest in May 2025. Meanwhile, pressure is mounting on political fixer and Northwest businessman Brown Mokhotsi, as well as private investigator Paul O'Sullivan, to testify before Parliament's ad hoc committee into concerns around national security. And tributes continue to pour in for the late Ekurhuleni MMC for Roads and Transport, Andile Mgwevu, whose remains were recovered on Tuesday. We bring you the news elevated right here on Prime News on SABC 3. A very good evening to you and welcome to your compass to current events. I am Beki Mutumomolete, your host for this evening. Let's take a look at your leads for tonight, and here they are. The heat of cross-examination has revealed that KwaZulu-Natal Hawks head Major General Leseja Senona communicated with alleged cartel member Vusmuzi Matlala up until his arrest in May 2025. A revelation that ran contrary to his claim in his evidence in chief that he cut ties with Matlala in March 2025 after learning of his alleged criminal dealings, which rather indicates that Senona had no intention to cut ties with his brother.
Major General Leseja Senona's bid to distance himself from any knowledge of his friend Vusmuzi Matlala's alleged criminal dealings fell apart when cross-examination saw his conduct, which suggested otherwise, placed in the spotlight. Such as his claim that he did not know the allegations surrounding the Babita Deokaran murder, linked to her blowing the whistle on the Tembisa hospital corruption, implicated his friend.
To accept that you heard about this killing, but you didn't hear what it is that she's supposed to have blown the whistle on and who are the people that are implicated. It's difficult to accept.
In addition, Senona's claim that he decided to cut off Matlala in March 2025 also collapsed as he stammered between explanations behind why he proceeded to give support to Matlala by accompanying him to an April 2025 meeting with KZN top cop, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, and why he, as a provincial Hawks head, continued to communicate with Matlala, an alleged criminal, up until the latter's arrest in May 2025.
It seems to me that had Mr. Matlala not been arrested, you will still be continuing with your communication with him, no. which buttresses or which supports my point that it's untrue that you ever intended to cut ties with him or to stop communication with him.
I hear what the commissioner is saying, but there was an intention.
This ultimately leads to the question of the appropriateness or lack thereof of an individual who holds the position of provincial Hawks head to maintain an association with an alleged criminal, even after he learnt of the alleged criminality through a March article.
You can see that he's being investigated by the SIU, by the Hawks, by the SABC, and you continue to associate with him. In fact, you continue to assist him in his business ventures.
The hearings continue. Kani Mapanga, SABC News, Pretoria.
Meanwhile, pressure is mounting on political fixer and Northwest businessman Brown Mokhotsi, as well as private investigator Paul O'Sullivan, to testify before Parliament's ad hoc committee into concerns around national security. The committee, separately investigating the same allegations as the Madlanga Commission, has decided to subpoena Mokhotsi. It also awaits a decision from the Speaker of the National Assembly, Togo Didiza, on the subpoena for O'Sullivan.
The committee is racing against time to finish testimonies from witnesses, but it's in disagreement with two key witnesses. Brown Mokhotsi was scheduled to appear before the committee on Thursday and Friday, but he wants his personal security detail paid for by Parliament for a week.
Parliament's protection services for them to look at the issues that was raising around his security. And the offer that was given was that he can come to Cape Town, and then as soon as he lands, there will be protection offered or escorts offered. Mr. Mkhosi refused that offer. He says that he doesn't want to be protected by people that he doesn't know. He prefers to have his own people.
Cars were left fuming, and in the end, the committee resolved to put its foot down.
The meeting is that the witness must be subpoenaed. Correct. That's the decision the meeting has taken.
Meanwhile, the committee also received a report on the appearance of Paul O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan has refused to appear physically, citing safety concerns. He has also offered to testify virtually from Ireland in the UK. A decision on the proposal made by the committee to the National Assembly Speaker, Thoko Didiza, to subpoena him is pending.
We are being playful to this issue. We should be done by now knowing that Paul Sullivan has decided and has told us straight in our face like this that he's not going to come. Why should we be delaying? Why should we be taking further steps and waste time?
Time will tell how both subpoena processes will pan out. Ulelani Philip, SABC News, Parliament.
The Department of International Relations and Cooperation is expected to provide an update this week on the plight of South Africans that were recruited to serve in the Russia-Ukraine war. This emerged during a media briefing by Minister in the Presidency, Khumbudzo Ntshavheni, which focused on the Cabinet Lekgotla ahead of the State of the Nation address and the budget speech. Several South African men were allegedly recruited to train as security guards in Russia, but ended up on the front lines of the war with the Ukraine.
Cabinet is holding a two-day Lekgotla to plan for the year. Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana was the first to present the country's economic outlook and fiscal capacity. The Lekgotla will also discuss the key priority areas the President must address in his State of the Nation address and the budget speech by the Finance Minister. During a media briefing, Minister in the Presidency Khumbudzo Ntshavheni touched on South African men stuck in Russia who were allegedly recruited to fight the war with Ukraine under false pretenses.
Processes that are underway in terms of the engagement between government of South Africa and the government of Russia in terms of how do we get them back, because they are stuck in a precarious situation, but they violated the laws of the Republic of South Africa. You know, there is cases that are being investigated by law enforcement authorities, which I do not have the capacity to speak on those matters. They should follow up with law enforcement officers. I'm sure the Department of International Relations within this week they will provide an update on the situation of South Africans in the Russian war zone and who have been recruited.
President Ramaphosa will deliver the State of the Nation address on the February of the 12th, and issues pertaining to the economy are expected to take center stage. Samkele Masego, SABC News, Pretoria.
When we come back, about 4,000 desperate parents whose children are yet to be placed in Gauteng schools are pleading with the Provincial Education Department to come to their rescue. More on this after the short break. Welcome back to Prime News on 3. We move on to news just in. The Department of Defense has established a board of inquiry to probe the circumstances surrounding Iran's participation in the Will for Peace 2026 naval exercises in the Western Cape. Retired Gauteng Judge President Bernard Ngwepe has been roped in to lead the investigation. The week-long naval exercises held 2 weeks ago in Simonstown were led by China and focused on maritime security, with participants including South Africa, Russia, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and other BRICS Plus nations.
At the allegations or any matter that relates to the instructions by the president, as our statement earlier had indicated, that an instruction of such was given about the Islamic Republic of Iran, and whether that instruction was carried out, if not, why, or whether the instruction was interpreted otherwise, if it was the case and why, or it was simply ignored. That is the main gist of the Board of Inquiry that would be headed by the esteemed Judge Ngwepe. We are looking at this from an independent eye and point of view. We don't want to be accused to say we investigated ourselves and found nothing. It is important and very critical that there's transparency and that whoever is dealing with this matter is an independent person. We don't want to be told that, but you used your own this, that, and the other. And that is why the outcome of this investigation is exonerating you.
Tributes continue to pour in for the late Ekurhuleni MMC for Roads and Transport, Andile Mgwevu, whose remains were recovered on Tuesday. Mgwevu's body was found alongside 3 other passengers who were traveling with him when their vehicle was swept away by recent floods in Mozambique's Chokwe region. Family members, friends and colleagues have expressed deep sadness at his passing, describing his death as a great loss at the tender age of 40. The family of the late Andile Mgwevu has described the news of his death as bittersweet. While they had hoped that Mgwevu would return home safe and sound, the family says that they are grateful that his remains have been recovered, allowing him to be given a dignified send-off. Mgwevu's sister says that the family had gathered to pray for his safe return while search and rescue operations were ongoing.
Easy moment or time for our family, because Andile was the pillar of this family. He was the strength. He was a father to his kids, a husband to his wife, and it's not easy to lose a loved one. So it's very, very hard and emotional for us, though we are just grateful that we are able to we will be able to lay him to rest, because now at least we have his remains and we know where we are going to lay him.
On to this now. About 4,000 desperate parents whose children are yet to be placed in Gauteng schools are pleading with the Provincial Educational Department to come to their rescue. Some parents are still queuing at district offices, trying by all means to find suitable schools. Even unplaced learners have joined their parents in calling on the government to assist, as they are now being left behind.
Snaking queues were visible at some of the education district offices in Gauteng, as distraught parents were still making desperate attempts to find places for their children. Some say they followed every rule from the Provincial Education Department to make sure that their children are placed on time, but it was all in vain.
This is the 3rd time that I'm here today. They've been telling me that first they said I must start checking my documents online. I did that. Last week Wednesday when I come back here, they said they're allocating space, so I need to go again online and check. There was nothing also. So they said I must come today.
Some learners have also directed their desperate pleas to the Education Department in the province.
I feel sad and lonely and disappointed because the government doesn't help us. It's the 4th time coming here. They tell us the same thing each and every day.
Honestly, I don't know myself, because I'm trying so hard to look for a school. I can't find one right now, but I am trying. So the plan would be to do homeschooling.
The Gauteng Education Department insists that those learners have been allocated spaces, but they don't want those spaces. Calvin Rudla, SABC News, Florida.
After the break, experts say that it will be a tight call for the Reserve Bank when the announcement on the interest rate decision is revealed tomorrow afternoon. Thank you for staying with us. Keir Starmer has touched down in China, the first visit of its kind by a British Prime Minister since 2018. He's there with around 60 business leaders, where he's expected to meet President Xi Jinping on Thursday, with trade discussions high on the agenda. Europe is increasingly looking to new partners in Asia amid trade pressures and threats from an increasingly protectionist America.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is trying to reboot relations between the UK and China, and experts say visiting Beijing is the most visible way to do that. Top of the agenda is trade and investment. Experts say that key things to look out for will be whether any agreements are struck on the removal of non-tariff barriers, increased market access, and cooperation on sectors that are important to both countries, such as renewable energy. Now, Starmer will have to find a balance, and many will be watching to see whether he raises issues like the war in Ukraine, to see if President Xi Jinping can use his influence over Russian President Vladimir Putin to try to stop the fighting. There's also the case of Jimmy Lai. He's one of Hong Kong's most prominent pro-democracy figures and a British citizen. He was recently found guilty of national security offences. And another issue to watch is whether Keir Starmer tries to do anything to secure Jimmy Lai's release. Now, China's foreign ministry spokesman said ahead of the visit that China is willing to enhance political mutual trust and deepen pragmatic cooperation. Experts say this is also a moment of opportunity for China to court a US ally at a time when President Donald Trump is fracturing relationships with Europe. Beijing wants to be seen as a reliable trading partner, while President Trump threatens tariffs. Laura Westbrook, SABC News, Hong Kong.
Back home, experts say that it will be a tight call for the Reserve Bank when it announces its interest rate decision tomorrow. While some believe that the Monetary Policy Committee will cut rates by 25 basis points, others say that the central bank will take a cautious stance and leave rates unchanged.
Policy Committee will be announcing its first decision of the year, with economists anticipating it to be a tough call, as conditions seem favorable for a cut, but inflation remains above the new target of 3%. While some expect a cut, others say rates will likely remain unchanged at 6.75%, meaning the prime lending rate will stay at 10.25%.
South Africa is expected to see a close decision on interest rates this week, either a 25 basis point cut or the interest rates being left unchanged. Inflation is well removed from the current target at the moment of 3%, with the latest outcome at 3.5%, or actually just above that 3.6 for the month before at 3.5%, and in fact coalescing around that point for a few months now.
Independent economist Elise Kruger believes there is a chance of a cut given the rand's strength against the dollar and other favorable economic conditions.
I do think the extent of the rand strength that we've seen since the November MPC meeting will have an important impact on the decision. So at the time of the November meeting, the rand was still trading at about 17.25 rand to the dollar. And, we all know we're now below 16 rand. So that's a notable appreciation since the previous meeting. That will filter into the Reserve Bank's own inflation forecast, for 2026 and beyond.
Gloria Sefako Musi, SABC News, Johannesburg.
And on that note, it is now time for us to take a look at your latest market snapshot, reflecting the day's trading activity as recorded at 7:30 this evening. It is now time for us to look towards the horizon and see what is brewing under our southern skies. Your forecast is coming up next.
Thank you very much, and everyone. Welcome to the weather desk. Now let's take a quick look at what to expect in our weather details for this evening as well as going into tomorrow. The western regions of the country can expect clear skies ahead of this evening, but rainy conditions expected as you move into the central interior of the country. 60% chance expected over the central regions of the Eastern Cape, going into central and southern Free State. Otherwise, for the rest of the country, isolated showers and thunder showers can be expected. Tomorrow, those scattered showers moving into the eastern regions of the Eastern Cape, Western KwaZulu-Natal, all the way into Central Free State, parts of Mpumalanga, Limpopo, Gauteng, as well as the Northwestern. Again, isolated as you move into the western regions of the Eastern Cape province, as well as the central and eastern parts of the Northern Cape. And again, the western parts of the country can expect clear and sunny skies ahead of tomorrow. This evening, we have a yellow level 2 warning for severe thunderstorms over the central and eastern parts of the Eastern Cape, going into western KwaZulu-Natal, all the way into central and eastern Free State, including Gauteng and parts of Mpumalanga. Tomorrow, the severe thunderstorms still expected at a yellow level 2 over western KwaZulu-Natal, western Mpumalanga, as well as central and eastern Free State, Gauteng, as well as the northwest, with high felt fire danger conditions expected over most regions of the Northern Cape. Overnight temperatures expected to remain fairly cool for most parts of the country, dropping to lows of 14 in Bethlehem, 20 in Pietermaritzburg, 19 in Johannesburg, 20 in Pretoria, up north in Messina, 20 as well. Polokwane, 17 overnight, 22 in Richards Bay, 23 in Durban. Komani and Nguba, 17 overnight, 20 for East London and Gqeberha, 18 in George and Cape Town. Sutherland will have a minimum of 11. Maximum temperature is expected to warm up to highs of 33 in Bloemfontein, 36 in Bethlehem, Kimberley and Vryburg. Going into Johannesburg, 28 as a maximum, 32 in Messina, 32 for Richards Bay as well, 24 along the eastern south coast, 31 in Cape Town. Sutherland will also peak at a maximum of 31. That's all from the weather desk.
As we wrap up another news day, we want to thank you for being a part of our community. Do make sure that you tune in again tomorrow. Until next time, stay curious and informed. For myself, Becky, and the team, good night.